It's a blue
live.
button. I
There it
pressed
is.
the blue button and we are
There it
live.
is.
Unfortunately, we do not have Rick Stojak with us today.
Well, we can get one of these in though.
Or Jeremy.
Or
Jeremy's not with us.
Jeremy, but we have one of these. We can
Yep.
go like this. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Drummers Education Connection. I am Bart Robley. I am in Ontario, California. And today I am enjoying a Vente coconut milk Barty Foof. And,
Wow.
yeah.
Was
made
that brewed right? Was
Yeah.
that brewed right there in your kitchen?
It was. It
Nice.
most certainly was.
Nice.
I am here with two amazing drummers and incredibly good friends in Tucson, Arizona, Chip Ritter,
What's up?
and in Boise, Idaho, Fred Rock Fisher.
Why, yip, yeah.
Why, yip, yeah. How is everybody doing today? It
Pretty
is
good.
wonderful to be here. Today, Jeremy and Rick are off doing the Jeremy and Rick thing, but they're not doing the deck thing. So the three of us are doing it. Fred graciously said that he would come in and sit in for the two of those guys. And so thank you for doing that, Fred.
Yeah, man.
We're going to start today with our normal thing of good things. Chip, what do you got going on that's good, brother?
Man, you know what? I've got a Christmas spectacular at my church on December 18th and 22nd. And it's 8 songs full of breaks and changes and everything. And I'm just tearing it up, man. I'm going one song at a time, and I'm really looking forward to the performance and having such a great Christmas spectacular show and being a part of it. That's my good thing.
Dude, that's fantastic. And is this an all-month thing, or is it I'm sorry.
We've been working on it for 4 weeks. We got 4 more weeks to practice.
Okay.
So it's going to be on Friday and then on Sunday. So the big show's on Friday and the big show's on Sunday.
The big shoe.
December 22nd. The really big show.
Nice.
That is so cool. I love Christmas stuff, so that's good.
How about you, Fred? How are you doing? What's your good thing?
Oh boy. Well, I've got a couple of students signing up. That will put me at 49 students.
Wow. Nice.
Which is pretty nuts, but that's good. I am going to go to Nashville the second week of January and with an artist from here who's been going there every couple months and recording, and I'm going to go in and make some new friends and hopefully get to do some recording. So
very cool.
That's the biggest thing. And then, the producer here is doing a lot of work to get ready for Thanksgiving because we host the family over here. So I'm going to be cleaning chairs and doing whatever I'm told to do.
There you go.
That's my good thing. What about Bart Robley?
I've got so many good things going on. We had a great time at PASIC. We talked about that last week. Glad to be here. Getting ready for Thanksgiving. It's my favorite time of year. I have a new product out on Gumroad. It is mastering the halftime shuffle, working on halftime shuffle. There's 18 grooves in there, and it starts from like the simplest, just what a shuffle is, how to play a shuffle with your right hand, how to break down the shuffle pattern, and it goes into ghost notes, and then it goes into starts out with some really simple, patterns, and then gets into some more complicated ones. And by the time you're done with it, you'll be a fantastic halftime shuffle player. One of the things that I have found that people struggle with whenever they're playing a halftime shuffle are the ghost notes, right? And so the second little exercise in this thing I'll show you right now is just a really cool thing that I learned from our buddy Chris Brady years ago, right, at Aquarian Drumheads. And what it is really, if you just think about, a triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 8th note triplets. And we think about when we're playing a shuffle pattern, we're taking the second note of the triplet out, playing the first and the last note of the triplet, and we're playing it on the right hand. 1, let 2, let 3, let 4, let 1, let 2, let 3, let 4. And then we just put the second note in the center of that. And if you notice, I'm not hitting the pad. I'm not trying to hit quietly. I'm literally just releasing the stick, just releasing the stick in my hand. And it is something I learned from Chris Brady and also from Dom Fimulero. And it's just sitting there at a pad for hours. And that is that's the second exercise on the sheet. And doesn't look like much, but being able to just put a little touch on the snare drum and think of it that way. Think of it as just releasing the stick. It's kind of a big deal. So it's great. It's a great product. And I've been having some good luck with it. Had a couple people
will you be able to play Fool in the Rain and Rosanna if you do this pack?
You'll be able to play Fool in the Rain. You'll be able to play Rosanna. You'll be able to play the Purdy Shuffle, Babylon Sisters, all that stuff. And by the end of it, if you like quiche, you will be a great quiche maker. You'll be able to make a quiche. So there you go.
Wow.
Yeah, it's an amazing product. You got to go buy it. You got to go buy it.
Wow.
I don't know where that came from, but it did.
Quiche.
So anyway, I don't know why I thought of quiche right away, but I did. That was the first. It sounds so quiche-y. So anyway, everybody, welcome to DEC. It does. Well, you're talking about Thanksgiving and cleaning chairs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
I'm just the help, man.
It's just I don't work here, man.
I cleaned up the leaves in my front yard this morning, so the front of the house is presentable.
You're a better man than I am.
Nice. Hopefully the producer approves.
She did. She came out, and I was trying to hurry to get some more leaves in the trash can before the guy came down the street. She's like, "You're going to clean this up, right?" I'm like, yes,
of course I am. Yes. David Betts, Peter Retzloff, how are you, Peter? We missed you at PASIC, buddy. I was looking for you. We didn't see you there this year. Anyway, so today we are talking about gratitude is the grease. Now, here's the thing. Every week we kind of know what we're going to do a week in advance here on DEC. And then sometimes we don't. Sometimes it's like, okay, what are we talking about this week, right? And we'll text each other, go back and forth. And Chip, I knew that we knew Rick and Jeremy were going to be here, so I reached out to Chip, and he goes, "Well, see if Fred will do it." We put the show together, and I said, "What are we talking about?" And he goes, "How about gratitude?" And I said, "Let me get back to you on that tomorrow." And it wasn't that I didn't like the idea. I love the idea. But what I wanted to do is check. I thought we had talked about it already, which we had back in April. But I thought, you know what? I'm going to call it gratitude is the grease. And I'm going to say, let's run with it again, because we're at this time of year when, Thanksgiving is here. Christmas is right around the corner. I love the holidays. We all love the holidays. And I think this is a time of year where a lot of people go, well, I'm thankful for this. I'm thankful for that. Well, I think really you kind of need to be thankful all year round. That's me. That's the way I believe. And I really think that the more you blow love into something, the more you're going to get out of it. So I thought it was a fantastic idea that Chip came up with that. So that's our topic today. Gratitude is the grease.
It's the grease.
What's that mean to you, Chip?
Gratitude is the grease, man. Well, one of the things that I've learned in my life when I've talked to friends of mine in a certain fellowship, they've been a support group of mine, and usually 9 times out of 10, if I'm wrapped up around the axle and really disturbed about something's bothering me, and I'm having a real tough time with it, 9 times out of 10, they'd suggest that I go write a gratitude list. And what that does is change the perspective of my problem. It puts me in a place where I'm looking at things differently. So when I have that gratitude, it's like, okay, I've got to go to band practice. I've got to go to band practice. I got to go to band practice. I got to go to band practice. And it turns that and reshapes it and says, I get to go to band practice. This is something I get to do. I mean, I'm lucky I even have the band situation going that I'm able to go to practice, and it turns it around. So gratitude smooths the path up to appreciation and makes you get out of yourself and get out of that funk and get going. That's what it means to me.
Yeah.
Right. I like that.
How
Fred,
about
what
you,
about
Fred?
Well, I think it's important. I think Bart just said a moment ago, like to remember to be thankful and express gratitude all year long. But when Thanksgiving and Christmas starts rolling around, I think that's when the general populace wants to share their appreciation for each other and their family and their friends. And it's a great time of reflection, of good things that happen throughout the year, difficult things that happen throughout the year, and a support group to be able to get through those. And then, of course, we're facing January 1, where people have their New Year's resolutions. And for me, when the new year comes around, I'm always thinking, like, how can I expand and continue to evolve what I already have to keep expanding my business and what I'm doing with drumming and all of that stuff. Not that I'm not thankful for what I have now, but I think it's just the natural evolution of what I do and being excited about that and expressing thanks towards those people that help encourage that along the way, which includes the two of you fellas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Thank you, Fred. Yeah, I agree, man. I'm a big I'm a prayer guy. I I pray all the time, and I think that sometimes people fall into a prayer or a prayer life when things are bad, and then you get in there and you start, well, if I only had this, if I could get this, if I could get that, if I could, God, please let me have this. I want a better gig. I want this. I want that. I think if you're more like, hey, God, thanks for keeping the lights on. Thank you for the house. Thank you for, whatever. I'm not telling anybody how to believe. I'm just saying that's what works for me, and being grateful for sometimes the smallest of things, right? Okay, perfect example right off the top of my head, something I'm grateful for. I'm sitting here doing this podcast with two dear friends of mine. And I decided, oh, you know what? I'm gonna do a demonstration on this new thing I have on Gumroad. I have a great practice pad on a snare stand sitting here and some drumsticks that, I honestly I probably did not pay for these, and they were given to me, and I'm so grateful for that. And it's those little things that sometimes we forget. It's really easy to forget all the small things, in your life that make it worth living,
Yeah.
and I think it's important to recognize that all the time.
Yeah, it's true that you have to have a sense of gratitude to keep moving forward. And I remember thinking to myself, there's some students that I have that want to play drums, they don't have a drum set. And I start thinking about how many people in the world want to play drums but don't have a drum set. It's like, dude, I've got a drum set.
Yeah.
I'm already set up. I mean, Fred's got 2. And Bart, you've probably got 10. I don't know.
There's a few.
But if you think about that in context, in perspective, it's like, I'm so grateful I live where I live.
Yeah.
I get to do what I do. There's so many things to be thankful for all year round, not just for Thanksgiving.
Right.
Is anybody ever thankful for the hardships?
You know what?
After they're over, I'm thankful that I had to go through what I went through with a couple different bands, that I learned what I learned because of those hardships.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I was necessarily thankful while they were happening. I don't know if I've ever reached that spiritual plateau.
You're not at that place of zen yet.
Take it when you wrecked on that scooter, Fred. I'm not sure you were like, "Wow, thank you."
No, I was not at all. But I was thankful for the people around me that made sure I was okay and that I was getting through all of that pain and suffering and emotional distress.
Yeah.
Through the comfort of all those people around me, which includes you two fellas.
Yeah.
Again.
Hey, you know what? the other day, as a side note, when we were at PASIC, I saw one of those things, and just in case it was the guy, I kicked it.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. It's like, are you the dude that hurt my friend Fred? Bam!
That's right.
As I was walking to Yoke Restaurant to get my bacon and eggs.
No, it was comforting the amount of people that came out uh and just encouraged me and supported me and my family too. So yeah. And students who are understanding, and yeah, it was, I mean, the accident itself and that pain, I can't claim to be grateful for, but I was grateful for the system of people I have in place.
It's an interesting question, because I agree. I don't think when you're in the middle of it, whatever it is,
Yeah.
you're not going to be grateful for it, because you're trying to get through it. But hindsight's always 2020. Recently it's been, and everything in the rearview mirror looks closer than it is. There's a Meatloaf song for you. A number of years ago, there was a band member that really did me wrong, and really turned my life upside down. Some of it to my own doing, I mean, there's a lot to it, and I will never talk about it publicly. But at the time, it was the hardest thing I'd ever gone through, right? It was, this was just unbelievable. Hindsight being 2020, when I look back on it now, on the incident, and I look at who I was as a person and who I am as a person now, and what it forced my hand to do, my life is like 1,000 times better. I live in a beautiful new home. My life is just completely turned around because of this incident. Am I glad that I went through it? I'm not glad, no. But I will say that had I not been put through that, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I'll leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that hindsight is always 2020. And, to use cliches all day long, what doesn't kill you makes you grow. And this made me grow more than I ever had as a person, not so much as a drummer, but as a person, it made me grow. So being thankful for the hardships after you've gotten through them, and you can, you've stood up and wiped some of the dirt off yourself. You're like, hey, I made it through that. Okay. And had I not, it wouldn't have happened,
Yeah, I remember going through the NAMM show, my first NAMM show, doing the stick juggling demos at the booths, and a couple of guys came around and called me a clown and something like that. There was just a bunch of negative stuff all of a sudden happened, and my friend Jeff was outside, and we went outside to take a break, and I was like, I think I'm done with NAMM. I think I've had enough. I don't want to go do that again. I don't want to subject myself to this negative commentary. And he looked at me and he was like, look, man, if you don't go back in now, you're never going to go back in.
Yeah.
If you let this stop you, now, then you're never going to proceed forward in your career in that way. And he convinced me that it was now or never. I needed to go back. And so I went back in. I did that. Turns out I had a great time. And I look back on that one moment, and I think, God, I'm so grateful I had that guy in my life, my friend, to be there to say that to me. Because had I not had that, I would have totally given up. I would have totally stopped my stuff, my shtick, and have dropped the ball on everything that I've been able to enjoy since. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I understand hindsight being 2020, and I also understand people coming around. I lost my best friend in 2004. He was my best friend, my father figure, a role model of mine, and he passed away. He had a heart attack fishing on a fishing trip. And I look back at the people that surrounded me, like Fred was talking about, the people that came to my aid to support me, to say, hey, you're not alone. Hey, is there something I can do? You know, and I look back that now, am I glad that he passed away? Like Bart said, am I glad? No, I'm not glad, but I'm grateful.
Yeah.
You know, I'm grateful for what how things transpired, and that gives me gratitude and helps me, like we said on the title, to stay motivated, grounded, and growing, to keep going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's when you're talking about the drum set, same subject, but to switch gears a little bit. Um, at PASIC last 2 weeks ago now, uh, three of us on deck are Sabian artists, and we were at the Sabian booth, and there's some new Todd Zuckerman crash cymbals that came out. They're called the red light cymbal, and they're huge. They're crash cymbals, and they're 19, 20, and 22. And I gotta have some. They're incredible. They sound so good, right? And I'm sitting there the whole time. I'm thinking, man, I got to get two of those cymbals. Those things are just killer, and drooling over them and stuff. Well, my bass player and I always have this joke that we say whenever we're going to buy a new piece of gear, we always talk each other through it. Should I do this? Should I not? Most of and because it's always something to do with the band and touring and this and that. And at the end of the conversation, it always ends the same way. He'll go, man, if you buy that right now, you'll never need to buy anything ever again in your entire life. And I'm like, I know, that's what I'm saying, right? So I'll just buy it and I'll never have to buy anything more. And I got to laughing about that because the cymbals are amazing. They sound phenomenal. Well, I'm sitting here looking at my drum set here in my studio. And I've got two Dave Weckl Evolution crashes. And in my opinion, those are the best sounding crash cymbals in the world. And then I play the Todd Zuckerman ones, and I'm like, oh my God, those are the best sounding crash cymbals in the world. I got to have some. So I think little things like that, you kind of put into perspective. Well, wait a second, why do I need these shiny new ones when I have these shiny used ones that sound just as good? So I stop for a second and I kick back and I just kind of look at it and I go, I'm happy with what I have. I'm grateful for my cymbals. Being grateful for what you have is so important. So important.
Yeah, wanting what you have is a big deal. Keeps you going, keeps you grounded. But there's nothing wrong with wanting some new cymbals. You know what I mean? The shiny new stuff.
No, not at all. Not at all. But hey, you know what? As a caveat to this video or to this podcast that we're doing right now, yesterday on my play list on my YouTube channel, Road Rash and Band-Aids, I did with actually this title as a caveat to this. I even said in there, I don't want to double dip, but I think it's a deep thing and I want to talk about it.
I watched it.
Okay. That part with, thank you. That part with the meme that I talked about, it's this little Facebook thing, and from left to right, there's this guy and he's driving whatever it is. It's this beautiful brand new Ferrari, Corvette, Lamborghini, whatever sports car you want. And Corvette. He's sitting in, Corvette. There you go, Chip. And he's looking out the window. He's looking up in the air, and it's obviously a private jet flying up in the air. It's like, only if I could afford the private jet. And then there's a guy in a car next to him that is looking over at the Corvette going, man, if I just could afford a fancy car like that. And he's in a nice sedan. Well, the car next to that's this old piece of junk, and it's smoking. It's, got scratches all over. Man, if I could just afford a nice car like that. And it goes down the line. It goes all the way to a guy sitting in a wheelchair watching a guy run. And it's like, God, if I only had legs. And so I think we always want something that we don't have, right? We always have something that we don't have. But are we thankful for what we do have?
Yeah.
Are we thankful for, if you're driving an old jalopy, are you happy that you have that old car to get you to and from work?
That's what makes gratitude such a powerful tool to get out of a depressed or sad state of mind.
Right.
You know what I mean? Counting your blessings. That's an old saying that's been around for thousands of years. Count your blessings. Sit there and think about, well, what's going good? You know, if I have 10 things going on in my life and 8 of them are really crappy and 2 of them are good, I'm focusing on the crappy ones. The crappy ones multiply and get bigger. But if I could just focus on those 2 things that are going good and let God or whatever, the universe, take care of the other stuff, those things that were going crappy get better and better as I focus on the things that are good.
Yeah.
So I've noticed that about in my life. That's for sure.
What about with a gig? Being in a
Oh
band?
yeah. Oh yeah. Same idea. You know what I mean? You're in the gig and you're thinking, okay, it's outside. The sound's going to suck. My hands are cold. You know, if you go down that list, then your brain starts giving you more because your subconscious is looking for negative things. You know, and if you stop for a second and be like, wow, I'm so grateful I have this drum set to play, that I have a band that actually has a gig. And you
Yeah.
start thinking about the things that are cool. It's like, hey, look, they got coffee over there. Next thing you know, you're like, hey, look, there's a pretty girl looking at me, or whatever. You know what I mean? There's good things to be had.
We're always looking for the pony, Chip.
Looking for the pony, man.
Yeah. Hi-ho Silver.
That's the deal.
Indian
That-
fire.
There's
You want
got to be a
to find
pony in here
Indian
somewhere.
fire.
Got to be a pony in here somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, prior to Chip going to Drumathon and all that, and his fundraising he was doing with April for Breast Cancer Can Stick It, I spent a lot of time on the phone with Chip, sometimes a couple times a day, and our battle cry was "Find the pony."
Yeah, find the pony.
Yeah, because Chip was working on stuff, and I'm working on stuff, and he's helping me, and I'm helping him, and it was just this really cool exchange, and it felt good to have that conversation pretty regularly about that. Kind of sets the tone for the whole day.
I would totally be like, Fred, there's no pony. I can't find the pony. Help me. I can't find it.
Hey, Chip, James said the pretty girl was looking at him.
Oh,
It wasn't
yeah.
you. It wasn't you.
You're right. You're right, James. You're right. You're right, James.
Hey, man,
I
we
give it
had
up.
James and I. Everybody had a blast at PASIC. It was
Oh,
really.
you got to meet James, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
That's
The
awesome.
common thing at PASIC was, and I mean, this happens, but like so many people at PASIC, you're standing there, all of a sudden they walk up and it's like, oh, there's James. And then you realize, oh, we've never met in person, right?
Yeah.
Last year, this happened with Peter Retzlaff, I don't know if he's still watching, but he was here a minute ago. Oh God. I mean, so many, Larry Rodbell, right? And you'd be standing there talking and like, hey, what's going on? And they all do the same thing. Hey, man, Bart, it's nice to meet you in person. You're taller than I thought. And that's what me and James say. James walks up. He goes, wow, you're a lot taller in person. You look shorter on the computer. I was like, yeah, I know I do. I look much. I sound much shorter on the computer too.
Bart is a tall guy, man. Bart can dunk.
You know what? No, Bart can't. I am not that dude. You do not want to see me try to play basketball. Just not. It's not pretty. Don't look. It's awful.
So what do you think? What do you guys think would be some tips for people that find themselves not feeling gratitude? They're not feeling grateful. How do you get into that mode? How do you get from blah, 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 blah to grateful? How do you get there? What's the first thing to do?
You know, I think for me, I think it's a matter of perspective, you know. You just have to kind of sometimes take that deep breath and sit back and sometimes physically look around you, like really look around you and go, you know what? Okay, look, I can sit here in my studio and look around. Man, there are cables everywhere and I haven't dusted in a while. I need to dust. There's, and the thing in my shadow box fell down, and I've got to redo. I want to get rid of the foam. And you can look at the negative stuff at any part of your life, but when I sit back and I go, I'm sitting in my recording studio in my house that I own. How the hell did I do this? I just be grateful for it, be thankful for it,
Yeah.
be thankful for it.
I have well, before I tell the serious, I always make myself feel better by buying new Peisty symbols.
Signature reflector.
Okay. Bart wants to talk about his favorite. I'm going to talk about mine. Uh-oh, I lost his video.
We lost Bart. You shined him out.
Bart.
Shut up.
That's what I got going on right here. I make myself better by buying the symbols I want.
I'm not here.
I'm going to send this segment over to the fine people at Pisces Symbols.
I'm so
Shout out
mad
to Kelly
right
and
now.
Tim.
Pisces symbols are great. I'm joking.
Okay, back to the serious part of it. So I'm sure you guys experience this too with your students. They're having a bad day and they just feel like they have a sense of hopelessness about the situation. And so for me, the first rule I have is just to simply listen and let them speak. Because I think sometimes people just need to tell somebody what's going on in their life.
Yeah.
And they're not always looking for you to solve their problem, but they just feel like they need to tell somebody. But if it progresses, then it's a matter of trying to assure them that this is a temporary thing that's happening.
Yeah.
It's incredibly temporary. And we've come up with a phrase for that. It's called being in drummergy mode.
Drummergy mode.
Yes. Drummergy mode. So I'll tell them, like, maybe it's a kid that's come from school and he's having a bad day, got a bad grade on a test or whatever the situation is. And I'm like, okay, for the next 30 minutes, that doesn't exist anymore. We're just going to only think about drums. And by the end of the lesson, they feel a lot better because they've shut that part of their mind off for a little bit.
And they're filled with drummergy.
Right. Drummergy. See, I got nothing on Gumroad, but we got drummergy sweatshirts.
You're lucky Rick's not here, man. He'd reach through the computer and grab that thing and throw it on the floor. He'd be so pissed. That'd be the first time we ever see Rick Stojak mad. Have you ever seen Rick mad?
No,
Never.
I don't think that's possible.
It looks like this. Darn it. It looks just like that. Rick is the most positive guy in the world. I'm joking about that.
Yeah. But no, we got to encourage each other, right? When somebody's, you got to have your support group. You got to have those systems in place.
I think, what's that old saying? A friend in need is a friend indeed, right? And how many times do you just, for no reason, out of the blue, somebody calls, right? You need to talk to somebody, or you need to hear something positive, and a person that you haven't heard from in a while calls you, and hey, want to check in? How you doing? I think that's, you call it whatever you want. You can call it the universe, you call it God, you call it Zen, you call it whatever. I think that's the God, the universe making you feel better. And I think that when we have those things and we put that positive out, that's what I'm saying, that positive comes back to us.
Mm-hmm.
That positive comes back to us. And I think having, as you said, Fred, having those things in place. I know that, hey, man, I'm having a bad day. I need to talk to somebody. I'm going to call my therapist, Fred Fisher. I'm going to call my therapist, Chip Ritter. And
Chip's going to tell you to go eat some nachos.
Chip will tell me to eat nachos pretty much every time.
Well, Bart, you have called me and you said, hey, how's it going? I said, good. He's like, I need a therapy session.
I have. As a matter of fact, I have. It has happened. It has happened, And those are what friends do for one another.
Yeah.
And so, having those people, and you know what? I'm going to jump out here on a limb for a minute. Maybe you guys will agree with this. I think as drum teachers, when you're in our careers, it takes a lot of hats to do what we do. But when you have on your drum teacher hat, you're always giving of yourself, right? You're always like, I know I feel I can speak for you guys. If I took a drum lesson from either one of you, I know that you would be giving it your all. And it had nothing to do with me as who I am. It has to do with you giving your all to me to learn from you and to be a sharper person because of you. And when you do that every day for 6 to 8 hours a day, you're pretty drained. And sometimes you need that refill. And sometimes, you need to make that phone call to Fred. You need to make that phone call to Chip. You need, dude, I need some therapy. I need help, Chip and I have talked about this before, 10 years ago, it would have been vodka cadabra. And, that doesn't work, so, that doesn't work at all. So I would rather call somebody and say, hey, man, I've got this problem X. How do I get through it? Oh, dude, and usually the empathy is there and it's big and it's, here's what I would do.
You were talking about so go ahead, Chip.
No, I was just going to say that's one of the core principles of depression is selfishness, is self-centeredness. It's not being able to look outside of your own situation. And that breeds more selfishness and more poor me, poor me, poor me. You know what I mean? That feeling of self-pity. And one of the solutions is to make a phone call and get out of yourself. You know what I mean? And talk it out with somebody. And, one of the best things I was told by my friend Kelly used to tell me, he's like, if you're having a bad day, why not call a friend you haven't talked to in a while and just ask them how they're doing and shut up and see what happens to your quality of your day. And 9 times out of 10, it will be like James said, training yourself to find something positive. It takes you out of that moment of negativity. Go ahead, Fred. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
Oh no, you're totally fine. I probably was going to go off a different direction, but Bart was saying, like, you're sitting there for 6 to 8 hours and teaching, and maybe you're just kind of spent as you're nearing the end of that day. And I feel that way occasionally myself, but my lessons are a half hour for each student, and they're just coming and cycling through. But even when I'm getting to the end of my day, I always ask the next student how they're doing and encouraging the one that's leaving, and those students talk for a moment as they're passing, and they're like, the parent might ask me, or like, how's it going? I'm like, man, I'm just training rock stars. It's like I just keep reminding myself, like, why I'm doing this and encouraging the students at the same time, because I think that no matter who I'm working with, they deserve my undivided attention.
Absolutely.
And
well said.
And I can't just be like, I got to be in drummer G mode all the time.
Gotta be in drummer G mode.
I got to do that, and it's
not just on Tuesdays at 6, but every day.
Yeah, and it's I get encouragement from that myself, and kind of get energized. When that student's coming in at 8:30 at night, and we're gonna work till 9, they're excited to be here, right? Yeah. What's the next thing? What's the new thing we're gonna do? Let me show you what I've been working on, and I've got to deliver that excitement. I can't give them anything less than all of me.
That is so well said, and it's refreshing to hear that, because that's the way that I've always felt about lessons. I feel that way with pretty much everything I do in the music business. I give it everything that I have, no matter what it is. If it's a lesson, if it's a gig, if it's changing the tire on the band's trailer, whatever it is, let's get in there and give it everything to make sure we get the job done. And when you're dealing with other human beings and you're trying to sharpen them, man sharpens man like steel sharpens steel. if you don't give them all of you, you're not only doing them a disservice, you're doing yourself a disservice. I mean, then why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Why, one of my favorite things, I have this student and she lives in Virginia. And every week I see her and she is just on fire and she plays great. And it's like, we're across the United States from one another, but you can feel that energy,
Hmm.
And one of the things that she appreciates is that she goes, I've taken a few lessons here in person with somebody and like they're in the room with me and we're across the United States on the internet and there's so much energy in the Zoom room, if you will,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I think it has to be there. I hope that that's what Deck does when people watch us on our podcast. And I know when I watch the Drummergy podcast, when I watch Fred's podcast, that's what I get. I mean, that energy. And I think that comes from back to what I was saying. It's about that love. It's what you put into it, you're going to get out of it.
Yeah.
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 My dad used to tell me, if you want to know what a man is grateful for, think about find out what he spends his time and his money on.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we're spending time teaching and we're grateful to be teachers. So there it is.
And I love what you said, I'm training rock stars. That
Yeah.
honestly, that kind of takes you out of the loop. I mean, yeah, I'm training, but they're the rock star. You know what I mean? I mean, you're in the loop, but it's not, hey, look at me. It's what, how can
Yeah.
I help that person? You know what? And I don't want to keep talking about this, but I will. Road rash, road rash and band-aids. I did a video the other day, and we've talked about it here on Deck for those of us who can do and those of us who can't do teach, and why that is a big pile of bull beep, you know. And I remember watching. I talk about this in that episode. I watched a video with Peyton Manning, and he had this little kid at the Manning Football Academy, little guy, like 6 or 7 years old, and he runs up to Peyton to have him sign a football, and he goes, Mister, I mean, and think about this: the kid's figuratively and literally looking up. Here's his hero, Mister Manning. And he's holding up the football for him to sign. He goes, I'm just trying to throw a good spiral. Well, immediately Peyton Manning's answer was, hey, kid, we're all trying to do that. And here's a guy that's a three-time Super Bowl champion, MVP, multimillionaire, the guy that is at the top of the game. Nobody better, right?
Yeah.
And he immediately got down to the level of that kid. Hey, man, I'm just trying to throw a good spiral too.
Yeah,
And
that's humility.
dude,
There's
it's
there's times
total.
there's times when I'm teaching that I'll be playing something and the student is close to being able to play the beat. And a part of my ego is dying to just rip out the beat and just shred it a little bit, but sometimes I have to put that part of me in check and be like, okay, look, remember when you were at this level, this was super hard. And this kid is going through this challenging thing and really trying his best. So it's like, as a teacher, you get yourself to their level and you help them step through it. And it takes a certain amount of humility to be a good teacher.
And a lot of patience.
Yeah, and patience.
A lot of patience. I had a parent tell me yesterday that they're like, I don't know how you stay so patient. Well, I think part of it is like they're not my child.
Yeah.
I'm probably less patient with my own children. And I don't know, that's maybe because they're directly my kids, but just like you said, Chip, like I remember being in that exact same spot they are in their timeline of learning and trying to understand and figure this out. One thing that I've started saying to my students is, if I make you think, you get better at what? And I get better at drumming. I'm like, no. If I make you think, you get better at what? Do you guys know the answer? If I make you think, you get better at what?
Thinking.
Thinking. Exactly. So, because they have to think when they're practicing all week long. They have to. I have a notebook. They have to look at the instructions and what they're supposed to do, and I have a process of thinking their way through what they need to do. And I've just been seeing a lot of growth with my students in the last couple of weeks after saying that to them.
Well, I think that, anybody that's a teacher, good teachers, I don't think give you the answer.
Right.
I think a good teacher pulls the answer out of you. And there's a big difference, right? There's a big difference. And that's brilliant, Fred. Making people think.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm echoing everything that you guys just said. Yeah, I get that a lot too, where parents will be like, God, you have so much patience. And it's exactly what both of you said. I remember being, the kid that I just wanted to play even quarter notes so bad, because not only my first drum teacher, Rob Heskett, he would just sit there, bah, 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 and he would nail it with a metronome, and I'd, no, go back to the car. Okay. And he had so much patience with me for that. And so now, when I see a kid that's struggling with the time or with whatever, you have to have patience. And then also, Chip always says this: the compliment sandwich, and hey, man, that was really good. We could fix this, but man, you really crushed it. Let's try it again. Those little anecdotes help so much. And I don't think this is off topic, because I think what happens is, when you look at the end of the day and you look at the students you helped, I think it's okay to be grateful for the people you helped. Thank you for putting them in my pathway that I could help them.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
One of the things that I remember going through with my first drum teacher, Fred Hayes, he had this great sounding drum set. I had just went and saw him at the Club Congress. He was playing with a big band, and his toms just was, it sounded so epic, you know what I mean? And I remember getting the lesson from him and saying, okay, all right, Fred, I'm like 15 at the time, and I think I'm pretty hot stuff at drumming, and been drumming for about 5 years or whatever. And I'm like, okay, Fred, so I would like you to teach me how to tune your toms, how to tune my toms like you tune your toms, because they sound so epic. So let's learn. Show me how to tune my toms. And he looked at me straight in the face, dead serious, and he goes, don't you think you should learn how to play the snare drum first? And I was like, oh, hey, oh, whoa. I remember being furious and can't wait to get out of the lesson. I'm like, Mom, I don't want to take lessons from that guy anymore. He's a jerk,
Yeah.
And it turns out to be like, he was serious. He was like dead serious. He was like, let's learn how to play the snare drum before you worry about tuning your toms. And that's how I am today. I feel that same way about students who want to get, they want to get the 20-inch China over here and get this going and get that going. And let's learn how to play a swing beat first. Let's learn some of these fundamentals before we go off into the jungle.
Oh yeah, totally.
Snare Force One.
Snare Force One, baby.
By Chip Ritter. Look at that.
That was partly inspired by that teacher. Yeah, telling me about that.
That's awesome.
The snare drum is the MVP of the drum set.
Yep.
Most valuable piece.
Yeah.
And
but I'm extremely thankful to be teaching, and that I have students that trust me, or their parents that entrust me with their kids to learn how to play this awesome instrument. And because of that, I have to be 100% all the time. I can't be anything less. Yep. And that's the same way if somebody's, hiring me to record drums for their song, or playing in my bands. Like, my bands I play in deserve 100% of me all the time. because it's the band is better if I'm all in. The songs are better if I'm all in. The show is better if I'm all in. And if I'm all in, that helps everybody around me be all in as well.
I've been,
I'm
I
there
know,
and I'm like, man, I don't want to be here.
yeah.
And everybody's like, yeah, because negativity is such a cancer.
Oh, it
And
spreads quick. Yeah.
yeah, and it's contagious, right? So you just start, then everybody around you is like, man, this sucks. I don't want to be here. I don't want to, you don't want that garbage going on.
No, you don't. You don't want any part of that.
We're getting close to the end of the show, but you brought up something that I think we would be remiss if we didn't talk about, and that is, no matter what you do, don't phone it in, man. If it's
Yeah.
whether it's
Don't
a
phone it
lesson
in.
or a gig or whatever. We used to have this person that was in there was actually a couple of them that were in the band for a while, and they're not there anymore. You can imagine, as long as I've been in that group, there's people have come and gone. But this one person, like we had a house gig, right? Like once a month we played this club. And it was a bar gig, and it was what it was, and it was no big deal, but it was still a gig, right?
Mhm.
It was a gig that, and we were expected to be there and give it our all. And
Yeah.
every once in a while, it'd be like, oh, you know what? It's just such and such a club. You know what? I'm not going to be there. It's an afternoon gig. We start at 2, we play till 7. It's no big deal. I'm not going to be there. It's just, and then they would say the name of the place. And more than half the time they weren't there. And then when they were there, it was this big negative ball of energy coming from that side of the stage, and it's like, I'm sitting here trying to give it my all. And from my left side, there is just this onslaught of, regurgitating hatred for this gig.
Yeah.
And
I've been there before.
10 years ago, you would have killed to be playing these songs and be playing this gig. And now you're and that does, man, it doesn't sit well. So I think recognizing those things around you and losing those things, losing those people, cutting those people out of your life is important to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the more you beat the drum about something, the more you drum up business about something. You drumming, the energy goes out, and you're starting to attract the type of stuff that you're drumming.
Right.
If you're beating the drum of negativity and stuff, you're going to find people that'll support you, and then you go recruiting people to make your case, and next thing you know, everything sucks. It's like, don't get involved with that. You want to stay impervious to the negative stuff and stay on the pony and stay on your own thing. And the more you can beat the drum of gratitude and thankfulness, the more people are going to be attracted to you of the same mind, and that the more that will spread. Just like Rick being in the room, you know what I mean? He spreads that positive energy.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, we have a negative bias in our brain because of survival, because of genetics. Like, we're trained to survive the mountain lion, and oh no, this may kill me, that may kill me, and all that stuff. So it takes a little bit more energy to be grateful and positive than it does to be negative. But boy, it sure pays off when you are grateful.
Well, if you're going to go look for negativity, you're going to find it.
You'll find it. Yeah.
And if you're going to go look for positive things, you'll find that too. So you got a choice to make. What am I going to go look for? We're going to go find the pony, Chip.
Find the pony. Where focus goes, energy flows.
Right. And then when people around you see that, they want to be a part of that. They want to be a part of the good stuff, right? And so it's just, your network is your net worth, right?
I like it.
That is very, very, very true. Okay, guys, it is 11:57, and yesterday when I reached out to Fred and I said, "Hey, man, you want to come on deck and be the co-host?" He's like, "Dude, I gotta be off by noon," and he said it that way too.
I have a new student who's in my 1 o'clock spot, so
is it the 1 o'clock spot?
Ready to go.
Oh, so we got an hour.
All right.
Then. We got an hour.
Well, no, it's 1 o'clock for me, buddy.
No. We go by my time. Everybody, I want
What I
to.
say it is.
So we got 2 minutes left. Fred's got a new student. We don't want to make him late for his new student. He's going to go give 3,000% to this new student and
That's
just
right.
crush it, I'm sure. So we're going to sign off here. To our friends Jeremy and Rick who aren't here today, we missed you guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Hope you guys, wherever you're at, had a great Thanksgiving. To Chip and Fred, you guys are dear friends. I appreciate you so much. I want you guys to have a
Appreciate you
happy
too, man.
Thanksgiving. And to all the people who watch Deck and follow Deck and our Deck heads, thank you so much. Please have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Next month in December, we will have our annual Deck the Hall show. We're coming close to the end of the year. Be safe with whatever you're doing. Go eat way too much pumpkin pie. And if you don't like pumpkin pie, then you are negative and you need
What
to
a
kind of cut
weirdo.
that negative kind of crap out of your life. Okay. Because pumpkin pie is the best stuff in the world.
I like the piece of pumpkin pie and then to build an igloo of whipped cream around it.
See, now you're speaking my language, Fred. Now you're talking my
No
language.
pickles in the pumpkin pie.
Why am I not coming to your house for Thanksgiving?
Well, you can come on over.
All right. I'll
Just
be there.
hop in your private jet and you and the missus we'll pick you up. The airport's just 5 miles down the road.
Perfect. You got enough drumsticks or should I bring a bag?
Oh, I got them.
Perfect.
I got them.
Let's go. All right. Hey, guys, thank you so much for watching. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Be safe. And we'll see you next week on Drummers Education Connection.
Peace out.